I order my toupees online and I cut them myself, and you can do it too. This process is going to work with any type of hair system that I know of, but this specific one has a silk base. That's that silk center area you're seeing. So it's a mesh that's very comfortable. It has poly on the sides for the tape or the glue, and a lace front, which makes it super realistic. I prefer this type of a hair system just because of the comfort and the realism that you get, especially with that front lace. You can lay it down so it's imperceptible. You're gonna need your template. Your template never changes, doesn't matter what type that you use of hair system, the template will always stay the same. Search on YouTube to find lots of tutorials on how to make your template. Having a mannequin head like this makes it a lot easier, so I definitely recommend. You can pin it down, and that way it stays secure and it doesn't slip and accidentally cut it too small, which can happen, or give you a strange shape. So I think a mannequin head makes a big difference. You're going to place the front of the hairline so that it lines up right with where you want it to end. This one I'm doing to the first hair at the front. I'm going to align it to the front of the mannequin head and lay that down, and then I'm going to take pins and apply the pins through the lace portion. If you're using a poly base, then I wouldn't suggest you put that through. I would be very careful because it can create tears and holes in the poly, but if you're using lace, it's not going to be a problem at all. But putting these T-pins in 4 different areas of the hair system is going to help keep it secure, so that when you're taking the marker and marking where you're going to cut it, it will end up being the exact shape that you want it to be. Once we have the toupee secure, you're going to take a Sharpie. I use a fine point Sharpie, and I mark just outside the template with the plan to cut it on the inside of that, if that makes sense. So I'm parking, you can see I am marking it a little bit further out so I have room. Now this one I am marking just along the line of the poly because I want to keep as much of that poly as I can with this silk base unit, because once you cut into the silk, it loosens up the base, so you have to sew it to keep the base down. So try to cut on the poly if at all possible. I would even widen your template or shave your hair down a little bit more so that you have a bit of that poly to put the tape on, because the tape is where it can be annoying to take off, and the poly makes it super duper easy to take off. Once you go all the way around the poly, you're gonna get to the lace portion, and it will show, although you won't be able to see it very well in this video because the hair is dark and the marker is dark. It will show once you take it off of the mannequin head. So you're just gonna very strategically mark exactly where you want to cut along the template with the lace, knowing that you are gonna cut off the Sharpie point. So the marked points you're gonna cut just inside of those. So go a little bit outside the template so you have that room to cut. Now that you have the entire hair system marked with the Sharpie, you can remove the pin and remove your hair template, because now it is going to be time to cut your hair system out and make it fit your exact hair shape. These mannequin heads are very easy to come by. You can get them on Amazon. I have this one in my TikTok marketplace, but it really does make a big difference to being able to get that precise cut when you are marking out your toupee shape. Any type of super sharp scissors will work great for cutting out the template. You don't want to use dull or cheap scissors to do this, because you want to get the edge of that knife really close to the base of the system. So I start where the poly is, and if you start with the poly, then it's a lot easier once you get to the lace. So I'm going right up to the edge of that hair system line that I marked earlier, and I'm going to cut just inside of that. So I cut off that Sharpie marker line. You don't want that Sharpie marker line, especially in the front. It doesn't really matter in the back. You're never gonna see that Sharpie line on the back because your hair is gonna be hanging over. It doesn't matter how short or long you keep the hair. Your hair is gonna cover that up. So don't worry about the back, but once you get to the front lace, you're gonna want to make sure you cut off that Sharpie marker line. Keep working along the poly until you get to the lace, and this is where you're gonna wanna slow down the process. And you're gonna rest the edge of the scissors or the shears along the base of the lace. So if you rest it along the base, there we go, that's a better shot. You can see I am not cutting off any hair. I'm getting it right at the base of the lace, and really letting the lace hang over the edge of the scissors so that I can get a clean edge and I'm not cutting off any of the length of my hair. After cutting along the lace, you're going to get right back onto the silk poly blend portion, and then it's going to be completely cut out. When I tell you I can do this, anyone can do this. It's super duper easy. I want to encourage everyone, you can do it at home. You don't have to go to a club.